welcome to Little Pop Story Time. Hi kids, welcome to Little Pop and Story Time. Today we're reading The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Oh, look at that! Look at that! No! The Lorax by Dr. Seuss.
At the far end of town where grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of lifted Lorax. And deep in grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, the old Once-ler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Once-ler, don't knock at this door. He stays in the legroom on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkim, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled muff. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. That's his house, the Once-ler. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of great-great-great-grandfather's snail. There, he's putting money in the bucket for him to pay. Then he pulls up the pail and makes most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snoof, his secret strange hole in his groveller's glove. Then he grants, I will call you by whisper, ma phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slop! Down slops the whisper, ma phone, to your ear, and an old Once-ler's whisper are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding grey, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. That's the phone. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. He's coming in his wagon here. And I first saw trees, the truffalo trees. The bright colored tufts of the truffalo trees, mile after mile in fresh morning breeze. These are those trees. And under the trees I saw brown barbalotes frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffalo fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffalo trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down the truffalo tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a need. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazoop. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you've made out of my truffalo tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I'm chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a need. A need's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that for full need." But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the need I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at Lorax. "You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what people will buy." See, he's buying that and going. "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Once-ler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to the north niche. Turn left at Weecomin, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in a factory I built, the whole Once-ler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting needs, just as busy as bees.
Needs.
Just as busy as bees, to the sound of chopping of truffalo trees. Needs. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my Super X hacker, which whacked off 4 truffalo trees at one smacker. We were making needs 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. The Once-ler in chief private is knocking there. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of brown barbloots who played in the shade of their barbloot suits and happily lived eating truffalo fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking of my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffalo fruit to go round, and my poor barbloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They've loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Once-ler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Needs. I mean no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the needs I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more the needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffed, he snargled, he sniffed. "Once-ler," he cried with Croffello's croak. "Once-ler, you're making such smogless smoke. My poor swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off." "Where will they go?" "I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you have smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dangard was up. Let me say a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity Glup also Skloppity Sklop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Once-ler man, you. Look at all that pollution. It's going to the ocean. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intended to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffalo trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffalo tree of them all. No more trees, no more the needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggled stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The needs. The Lorax said, "Nothing, just give me a glance. Just give me a very sad backward glance," as he lifted himself by seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hesitated himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, says the Once-ler, now that you're here, the word of Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better, it's not. So finally he gives the money back. So catch, calls the Once-ler. He lets something fall. It's a truffalo seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffalo seed, and truffalo trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffala, treat it with care, give it a clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest protected from acts that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. See how he's watching. The end. That was a very nice story.
And these are the other books we can read.
Yeah.
Did
you like listening to Lorax?
Yeah,
you know what they're talking about?
The
deforestation. Stop cutting down trees and protect them.
Yeah.
Otherwise the nature is going to be lost.
But at least we'll have to make seeds.
Say thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Leave us a comment if you like the story.
Leave us a comment if you like the story.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.